Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Beer and Money. My name is Ryan Burklo.
And I'm Alex Collins.
And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about how most people, they're financially planning backwards.
Yeah. Ungood.
Not good. And this is just what we're taught. It's in a linear fashion. So we're going to walk through the problems with that. And we're also going to walk through a way to combat that. But before we dive into today's episode, Mr. Collins, what are you drinking?
I am drinking Supplication. It's a sour from Russian River. And they would encourage you to drink out of a tulip instead of a pint glass. So it's beer with a cork.
So for those of you who like sours, try it out. You've been listening to this podcast for any time, you probably recognize that Ryan hates sours and Alex loves them. So go enjoy your sour. I can appreciate that. And he's got his
buddy.
tulip glass. I'm going with Haywire's Queen Bee. It's a blonde ale. It's kind of a lighter beer, 4.7 alcohol by volume. And it's just one of those refreshing drinks. So I enjoy it. And Haywire in Snohomish, Washington is actually becoming one of my favorite breweries to go to. So check it out. So
I thought you were partial to Burnett's.
Don't tell Diane.
Haywire's great. If you're anywhere near Snohomish, highly recommend you go check out Haywire. It's a great brewery.
Yeah. So Alex, let's dive into this, right? Because this really kind of cuts into our core in terms of how we look at financially planning. And let's just start with what most people, for that matter, even advisors kind of do, right? It's this linear planning model where you're looking at like the past and taking that information and looking at it like, what can you do today? And then, forecasting 30 years from now, what the future might look like based on a set of numbers. Yeah.
So like most planners will say, okay, cool. Bring in your statements and let's look at where you were. Let's look at what you have done. What's your budget? How have you been saving money? And let's take a look at where you're at. And so that gives us a snapshot of the past. It gives us a snapshot of the present. And then there are assumptions that are made of like, okay, we're going to, whatever the growth rate is, 5%, 6%, 8%, 10%, whatever it is, here's our growth rate. We're going to assume some sort of like amount of money that is being put into the plan. And now each like money has like its own little silo that it goes in. And now like, okay, let's fast forward 20 years, 30 years, whatever the time period is. And let's now look at what all is in each one of these silos. And there are like one of our mentors was like, oh yeah, I stopped counting it somewhere around 63 variables.
Yeah. Look, the focus is on budget, rates of return, and what they should save, and they're not focusing on the life that they actually want to create.
Right.
Right. Like we've made the joke before, like we try not to plan, like life isn't lived on a spreadsheet.
Ever.
And most financial plans are just really one giant spreadsheet, right? Like, hey, if you get this rate of return and you save this much money, here's your magical number. And then we have questions from retirees where they're like, what does that number mean? What do I get to do? Like, what is that? Like, what's the meaning? So they're most people and advisors, they're managing math, not meaning.
Well, and this leads to all sorts of issues. Like, what I was reminded of this last weekend. My daughter is 10. Her growth is not linear. Sometimes she takes leaps and bounds forward and does absolutely amazing things. And then other times, she has a conniption fit on the floor of a showroom for no apparent reason. We thought we were beyond that. Nope. These things happen, and it's not like the same thing with money. It's not like just a linear line that goes straight up. It's not whether it's parabolic or, just straight linear. It's not going to be that way. We go through good things and bad things. Heck, a friend of mine made a joke about like how he inadvertently took out a mailbox with his car today. Like, that's going to set him back something. Was that in his plan? No.
Right. And to take it even a step further, you and I have had countless meetings with people that have a good amount of money technically saved. Yet we still get the question of why do I feel poor?
Yeah.
And the question always is it's related to like where their money is and the access to the money and what could they do with the money if they wanted to stop working. And we're kind of beating the dead horse here from the standpoint of like people plan on this linear fashion, like here's your magical number when they haven't actually thought about what is it you want?
Right.
What is it your future? And that's actually a harder question to answer. I don't think many people truly know because they haven't taken the time to sit down and look like what it is they really value. What is it they really want? Like they haven't talked about that. And those can change over time as well.
No, 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 no. It's carved in stone when you're 18, and that like
Right. And we even had our past episode a couple episodes ago. We were talking about how I was talking about how I'm going to pay for my kids' education via my cash flow rather than taking a loan out. Right. And that's just flexibility, like just a different way of doing stuff based on what it is that's important to you. And that's what most people do. So the way that we plan, right? We discuss the problems. The way that we plan is we're looking at the future first. What is it? Like, what do you care about? What does that future look like? And if we can build that out so powerfully that maybe it can reshape what you're doing right now.
and so last week a client asked me like, "Hey, what happens if stuff changes?" Like, okay, cool. Like, we're
You
designing
mean
this
when something changes?
right. Like, we're designing this so that like this is our goal and and where we're headed. And we know that something's going to happen. It could be something good, it could be something bad. We have no idea what's going to happen because the future is unknowable. However, our design is such that you have the ability to roll with the punches or to like take advantage of an amazing opportunity. Like, that's the design of this so that money can be moved around for its best purpose for your situation. And like that's like this midterm bucket that we talk about that nobody seems to have. Like, that's the purpose of it, is that like stuff is going to come up and it's going to change, and it's not going to be like, hey, in 5 years you're going to want to have $226,000 sitting in an account that you can get access to. Like, nobody gets that road sign. Nobody gets that text that says, hey, plan for this, it's coming up. Yeah, most of the stuff is unknown and unknowable. So having the flexibility to pull from stuff when we need.
Well, and what is noble, Alex, right? Like you can only look at what you've got right now, right? If you were to sit back and say, okay, like what people are stressed over right now for the most part is, are they saving enough money to retire? And they don't even know what retirement is, right? Can they send their kids to college? Because education makes sure that, and really it's whether you believe in college or not, all of us want our kids to be successful in whatever fashion or definition of success is for you and your family. So let's take a step back and look at what is it we value? What is it? Where is you want to spend your time? And what's stressing you right now to not enjoy that time with the people you love right now?
Well, and there's like, I sat down with I was referred to somebody's mom, and the three of us sat down, me and my friend and his mom. And like, she was completely freaking out that didn't have enough money. And we took a look at it and we said, no, 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 you have more than enough. And she goes, well, how do you know? And we're like, well, okay, like, what are the concerns? And she's like, well, I'm afraid I'm going to lose it in the market. Okay, cool. So you've got, at this time, she had something like $1.5 million sitting in this account, and she needed like about 30 grand a year to be able to live on. And like, the math's not hard to do, right? She had the ability to create twice that from the 1.5. And so like what what we wound up talking with her about is, okay, well, let's shift just a little bit of that money and guarantee it so that no matter what happens in the market, you've got your 30. And then let's take a little bit more and shift it into something that is super conservative. And we can discuss what exactly super conservative is. And that will be for like being able to turn on more income when inflation occurs. And then we'll take another chunk of money, and this will be our medium term risk. And we'll take some risk with it, but at the same time, have the ability to turn on incomes from that as well. And then we've got, maybe half the portfolio that we can still take the same amount of risk with, that because you love the returns, right? Oh yeah, it's done awesome. Okay, cool. But you're worried because it's also simultaneously having to create cash flow and income for you. She goes, yep. So like that then solved it, where we just shifted to something that was totally guaranteed, and she suddenly got to live and enjoy the life that she wanted to live.
Yeah. So you did what we try to do is you look at the future first. What is it you want to do? What is that lifestyle? What does that look like? Let's bring that to the present. Right. And so we work backwards. Right. So this is what's key. When you have that vision so clear, it can help your present decisions, either spending, in this case, like how much you can spend,
Right.
or saving, or career choices, or like all of the stuff we've been talking about. When you have that vision that's so clear, all of the other stuff starts to align easier.
Yeah.
And because they align easier, guess what doesn't happen? You don't stress as much. You stop worrying about, do I have enough? You stop worrying about, well, my neighbor's doing this. Like the FOMO and all the other stuff starts to dissipate because you stop actually caring, because you're building what you want.
You're getting to spend time with your family. You're getting to go on the vacations with your family that you want. You get to tackle the things that like actually work and function for what you're trying to create in the world.
Yep. Yep. So we wanted to bring this to everyone's attention. Again, a real quick TLDR is most people plan linearly, past, present, future. We actually do the opposite: future, present, past. Because when you know what you want, you can get to, and you can build towards that. You get to live that life now. So if this resonated with you and you're like, wow, I'd like to learn more about that, or I want to know what my scorecard looks like based on that type of philosophy, check the show notes of the episode. There's something that's called a financial scorecard. It's a great spot for you to go in, get your own scorecard. We don't see it, just so you're aware, if you're listening to this, we don't see it. It's just for your scorecard. Now, there is a spot if you wanted to reach out to us because you wanted more intentional planning or you wanted a second pair of eyes. There's a spot for you to give us that information. If not, great. It's a scorecard that's out there for you for free. If this resonated with you, like, wow, I've never heard of this before, share it with people you know, love, and care about, right? Because that's the whole reason Alex and I started this podcast, was to help you think differently about your money. So head over to beerandmoney.net. All of that information is there. YouTube channel, all of that fun stuff. Alex, this was a good one, bud. Appreciate you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not to be construed as tax, legal, or investment advice. Although the information has been gathered from sources believed to be reliable, please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information should be relied upon only when coordinated with individual professional advice. Guest speakers and their firms are not affiliated with or endorsed by Park Avenue Securities, Guardian, or quantified financial partners, and opinions stated are their own. Guardian, its subsidiaries, agents, and employees do not provide tax, legal, or accounting advice. Consult your tax, legal, or accounting professional regarding your individual situation. All investments and investment strategies contain risk and may lose value. This material is intended for general public use. By providing this content, Park Avenue Securities LLC is not undertaking to provide investment advice or a recommendation for any specific individual or situation, or to otherwise act in a fiduciary capacity. Please contact a financial representative for guidance and information that is specific to your individual situation. Ryan and Alex are registered representatives and financial advisors of Park Avenue Securities LLC, OSJ 200 Market Street, Suite 1850, Portland, Oregon 97201. Phone number 503-221-1226. Securities products and advisory services offered through Park Avenue Securities, member FINRA, SIPC. Financial representatives of the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America, Guardian, New York, New York. Park Avenue Securities is a wholly owned subsidiary of Guardian. Quantified Financial Partners is not an affiliate or subsidiary of Park Avenue Securities or Guardian. Ryan Burklo, CA Insurance License Number 0K24924. Alexander Collins, CA Insurance License Number 0H24806.
8608977.1, expiration date November 2027.